Welcome to the In Season podcast, rated R for language.
None of us are doctors or neurologists. Things you're about to hear are opinions of people living with epilepsy or seizures. These are firsthand experiences. Epilepsy can cause speech problems, and medications are hard to pronounce, so please bear with me. Epilepsy can cause bad memory, so some stories will be repeated. I'm Pookie. Get ready.
Okay.
Post-ambulatory EEG, getting glue out of hair. I recently got an ambulatory EEG off of me. There's so much glue that seems like it's going to take forever to get it out of my hair. I'm booking a salon visit soon, but is there anything I can do in the meantime to get all the glue out of it? Ooh.
Coconut oil.
You said peanut oil?
Coconut oil. Take a bit of coconut oil and spoon it out into a bowl and microwave it until it's, liquidy, and just kind of
I think your screen froze, so was it me?
Yeah, it looks like Mark.
actually
He's back.
by the technicians, the nurses and the technicians who were removing the electrodes at the time, and they were right. They know what they were talking about. And the coconut oil is a great air conditioner as well. So that's definitely my go-to. Hopefully I won't need it again, but if I do, I know what to do.
Yeah, I think I used coconut oil too, like Mark said. I don't remember the last time I did it, but it was definitely coconut oil. It's like that, or you can use like stuff with baking soda, because baking soda helps with everything.
Yeah, one washing my hair after that, it didn't work. Not one wash. The second one, they got some signs of hope. Atypical seizures. Hi, I was wondering if anyone has experienced atypical or focal seizures. A recent neuro, and I'm being referred to for 5 to 7 days stay in epilepsy unit for testing because I'm having episodes that may or may not be seizure activity. I have episodes where all of a sudden it feels like I can't see. There is no actual vision disruption, but I feel like I'm missing all the information in front of my eyes. Like there is major delay in my visual processing when this happens. My whole brain feels like molasses. I can hear people speaking and I can respond. It just takes me a minute to fully register what was being said. I also sort of feel like I'm outside of my body when it happens. These episodes last anywhere from just a couple of minutes to sometimes 20 to 30 minutes. One single time I had one of these episodes and then lost about 40 to 45 seconds of that time. I straight up can't remember. I was driving when it happened and I missed my exit and was further down the road than I thought I should be. I was very disorientated and very afraid when I came to. I also may or may not have been having olfactory hallucinations on occasion, and my neurologist said those can be auras for seizures. I'm wondering if anyone else has this experience was similar, that known for the fact that they are for sure having seizures. Is anyone having seizures like that? Olfactory? I don't know what that is.
That smells.
Smells? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not having those. Atypical are those drop seizures, right?
Yeah, those are the sudden drops.
Those are
It
very
could also be
interesting to me.
syncope because they
For
said
some
they,
reason, those have become very interesting seizures to me. Just to drop to the ground.
yeah, they just drop. They don't do the clonic part where they start jerking around.
Okay.
It seems like
Okay, it
some
looks like
type
those
of,
drop seizures are actually called atonic. Atypical seizures are a different kind of generalized seizure, but you don't get the convulsions. So it's still
yeah.
generalized. That's the biggest difference between atonic and atypical. Is that it still encompasses your whole brain on an atypical seizure, but there's no convulsions. And it seems like it looks like a focal, but for some reason it
Uh,
takes up your whole brain. That's what they call it.
but
And they're
it's
longer. They last longer than an absent seizure, up to a few minutes. That's scary. So it
it
sounds like somebody would just be gone
seems to
for
be having it.
long.
They have it in clusters if they're going for like more than 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah, because 20 to 30 minutes is a lot.
So maybe that's what got them the diagnosis of atypical instead of, the absence, the focals, and the other kinds we hear about.
To feel like your brain is moving in molasses is a lot.
It's more associated with developmental delays, so they might even have more problems just thinking when they're not having a seizure.
Yeah.
That's hard. Well, it just reminds us of being grateful to even be able to function, live on our own, even if we can't be 100% independent. It's a little better.
I don't know.
Oh, actually, hold up. It's been a long, strange trip. Buy one, get three. No, buy one, get one, three. That's been the motto of my life for a few days. All three were the same of a good quality seizure. 3 or 4 minutes of horizontal tap dancing, and the best part, twitching all day after. On the bright side, I don't remember half of it. As with any fine seizure, it pairs exceptionally well with benzodiazepines. I had a nice 2025 diazepam, and because I'm a discerning customer, I also had Nasalam. I don't want to hear it all. You should have gone to the hospital and you should have gone status epilepticus stuff. This is very old hat to be all doctor knew all about it. 2 of them were close together, but I was conscious, or so I was told, for about 5 minutes, so I decided to roll the dice. If you haven't talked with your doctor about Nasalim, it might be good if you have TCs. I'm not going to have another seizure today, I keep telling myself, and it's going to be a good limping around day. Much love, everyone. Okay, so this person was just, it
I
sounds like
like their
explaining or
writing style.
rationalizing. Yeah, it was definitely some sarcasm in there, but it sounds like they're rationalizing or giving an example of why we don't need to go to the hospital every time there's a bad one. You guys all like satisfied anyway with your rescue meds?
Uh,
Yeah,
I'm just tired
yeah.
of the cost.
Toaster, you're here.
Yeah, I came back.
Woohoo.
Welcome back, then.
I'm still in gremlin mode though.
I was gonna say turn the camera on, but I
Nope,
understand.
I'm still in gremlin mode.
I understand.
I wonder if Nasalam does get, the medications that you administer differently, if you still get resistance to those.
Yes. Yeah, the tolerance to the benzodiazepines. If is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, specifically the Nasalam, because I was thinking maybe if it's a nasal spray, it'll bypass that because it's going straight to your brain or something. It's
No,
another kind of benzo
it's
though.
activating, yeah, it's activating the same receptors. It's midazolam,
Right.
however it gets into your system, whether it goes in through the IV or in a tablet or, nasal spray. Um, the benzodiazepine tolerance all has the same mechanism of action in the central nervous system. So it's unfortunate. It would be great if we would be able to, bypass one, go up the nose for one, take a tablet for another, get an IV, and then, go back to the nose and kind of cycle through to avoid any sort of built up dependence. But
It's definitely not something that's general knowledge or, usually known by people even when we're first diagnosed. So we've got
Anyone
one
here?
here. Mhm.
I know
Who's
I was on since I was taking clonazepam nightly, and they gave me a rescue of the dissolvable ones. Also, I asked for the nasalium instead because if I become tolerant to the clonazepam, I'm going to need something stronger to hit me.
yeah, the dose equivalence is not always the same. 1 milligram uh, nasal spray versus 1 milligram tablet versus 1 milligram IV are not all going to have the same degree of effect. So, to that end, there is
I think,
something to be said for um, dose difference across the various routes of administration.
yeah, I think my nasalium's at 5 milligrams.
Yeah, mine too.
So, first ever seizure. Could this be linked to severe ear infection or other factors? I had my first seizure on 25th of July, 25, while at a pub in London. I've never had seizures before, no history of fainting or migraines, and generally healthy. All right, guys, get ready to listen up. Somebody is giving their entire medical history here, and we can make a detailed analysis. Background. Just returned from a week in Mallorca where several of us developed painful ear infections, likely from an unclean villa pool. By the day before the seizure, my left ear pain was severe. I took the over-the-counter ear drops, did nothing, and large amounts of ibuprofen without realizing the dosage was way too high, 800 milligrams every 4 hours. That day was very hot, stressful travel, little water, and poor food. McDonald's late at night. I also flushed my ear with warm water, releasing a lot of wax, but didn't know I had a bad infection. Took Phenergan before bed for hay fever. The morning of the seizure. Woke early with stabbing ear pain, took more ibuprofen. Normal work morning except ongoing ear pain. Took Imodium late morning for an upset stomach. The seizure event. Went to the pub with colleagues at lunch. Ordered a pint. Last memory is waiting at the bar. Witnesses say I froze mid-conversation, hands started twitching, collapsed backwards into someone that had a full-body tonic-clonic seizure, rigid legs, jerking, foaming at the mouth, bleeding from eyebrow, lasted 2 to 3 minutes. Woke up extremely confused, aggressive, couldn't hear properly, and my speech was slurred. Paramedics arrived about 15 minutes later and took me to the hospital. At the hospital, CT scan, ECG, normal. Low phosphate, mildly elevated white blood cell count, hemoglobin high, likely dehydration. All other electrolytes, kidney, liver, normal. After the seizure, sore all over, cut eyebrow, bit tongue, exhausted. Next day, saw a general practitioner, given antibiotics, but they didn't work. A few days later, diagnosed with severe left ear infection, switched to ciprofloxacin and another one I can't pronounce, eardrops, worked quickly. No further seizures since, though still anxious it might happen again. Other notes, 4 people from the trip, including kids, had ear infections. My brother had one unexplained seizure years ago, but never had another and refused medication. Has anyone experienced something similar where infection, dehydration, medication mix, or electrolyte imbalance triggered a seizure? Sounds to me like you had the perfect storm of everything to lower your seizure threshold.
That is literally everything you could possibly look for to lower your seizure, unless you were including like alcohol and drugs. It's like everything that they just listed was kind of bound to lead to a seizure.
I think alcohol was in there because they mentioned a pub.
Well, that's
Oh,
the
they
thing.
did.
Sounds
Sorry,
like the
I missed
last thing
that
he
part.
remembers. Well, no, you're right though, because it sounds like the last thing he remembered was ordering the pint and waiting at the bar. So it doesn't say like it doesn't sound like it ever got to him.
Oh, okay. Well, you never know. He might
But
have.
still,
You just, I don't,
yeah, yeah, that's
sometimes people
true.
don't remember like minutes and hours beforehand.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it sounded like they had the everything needed to cause a seizure. And if their brother had a seizure in the past too, I mean, I hate to say this one is another one that should pursue this. Get some more tests. Go for a inpatient stay just to see if there's any other abnormal activity so you know what to expect if you're gonna have another seizure. I guess it's so much easier for somebody like this who would totally ignore it though. If you've never had one your entire life.
Has anybody here ever had a nocturnal seizure?
Yes. Is that what the nanny cam's about?
No, I was just asking if anyone's had a seizure in their sleep because I had a post that kind of, I guess, went along with people who have had seizures in their sleep. This post says, nocturnal seizures. Does anyone else throw up after a nocturnal seizure? I always wake up around 3 to 4 a.m., fall back to sleep, have extremely vivid dream and intense emotion and familiarity. Wake up around 7, feeling sweaty, groggy, tired, lightheaded, sick, and sometimes I eventually puke. This happens a few times a month, seizure related or just anxiety. I have possible TLE.
And loss of appetite is about as close as it would get to nausea.
I'm sorry, I just overheard Kate mentioning nausea as never part of her seizures. Is that the question? Like, or
That's part of what they mentioned about nocturnal seizures. Somebody mentioned that after a nocturnal seizure, they throw up.
oh, I definitely have nausea after some of my tonic-clonics. Um, I don't know about nocturnal seizures, but now that I think about it, I have woken up sometimes with just seemingly inexplicable nausea, and had to go and vomit. And so now I might be reconsidering parts of my life. Um, I would say to this person that it's not impossible. Um, Definitely something to mention to the neurologist. Um, yeah, both nocturnal and um, daytime seizures that I've had have both been associated at times with nausea. So, uh,
I can agree with this one here, though. Somebody else talking about nocturnal seizures and feeling that they can't go back to sleep afterwards. And that's definitely something I can relate to. The way they phrase it though is that they're saying that their loved ones it's getting to the point where they're worried about her because she literally won't go back to sleep. And obviously that's not going to help any kind of post-seizure state. But do you guys ever feel like you shouldn't be doing anything after a seizure?
should be or shouldn't.
Shouldn't. In other words, after a bad one, I would never want to go to sleep.
I mean, my body usually lets me know what I want to do because there's been times where I've had a seizure and then family's like, you need to sit down. You just had a seizure or something like that. And I'd be like, I'm feeling totally good. Like, I feel like doing stuff. And there's times where they're like, Oh, do you want to lay down? Because you're not looking too good. Yeah. Times where I'm
What about
obviously
you,
not looking
Lufa?
too good.
Toaster?
Sorry, did you say something to me?
Usually sleep is what everyone wants me to do after a seizure.
Yeah, Lufa, I was just asking if you had an opinion on something that you don't ever want to do after a bad one. Somebody
Oh,
was saying that they have nocturnal seizures and they can't go back to sleep after that.
what do I not want to do after a seizure? I don't want to go running after my dog. I don't think that's what they mean.
I don't want to do anything after a seizure. I just want to rot. Honestly, sometimes after a seizure, I just wish, I don't even know. I really, honestly, not, in the kindest way possible, I wish just for like 5 seconds, people that don't experience epilepsy could experience the post-ictal phase of it for like 10 seconds so that they could just get like a feel because it is so fucking painful.
And the bites on tongues take so much longer to heal than like
Oh
any
my
other
God.
food.
And
That
I
is
I
annoying.
specifically I always get the corner of my mouth too, so then people are like,
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with your?" Because I'm 20, right? So they're like, "Oh, you got your." No, I don't. No, I had a seizure actually. And I'm like, "Oh, that's my bad." Yeah, okay, buddy, you're bad. Loser. Also, I just tried to. That RSO shit is sticky as hell. That
I don't
is.
want to
Do you
do
um
anything after a seizure unless I'm in an emergency room. Then I just want to get the hell out of there.
Oh my God, I hate
Yeah.
being in PR.
I wanted to think my brain hates me. So I have TLA and my seizures can last anywhere from 30 minutes to a couple of hours. Monday seizure was so fun. It was the worst one yet, lasted over 2 hours. So my question is this. I've been studying really hard for exams. My typical study routine would be study from 8 a.m. ish to 5 p.m. ish. When I typically get a headache, I'll take a break from around 12 for maybe 30 minutes. Could this contribute to as to why I'm getting seizures now every single day? They're not really letting me go either. I'm constantly walking into walls and my vision sometimes blurry and mind foggy. It is so much fun. It's also messing with my borderline personality disorder. I started new medication along with my old meds to try and control my epilepsy. The question was, can this contribute to my seizures every single day? Um,
It could be stressing you out a bit. But yeah, walking into walls and stuff, that sounds like side effects from medicines and stuff where it throws you off balance. I had a few medications that did do that.
What's a favorite thing everybody's learned from in season?
question. Favorite thing? My favorite thing is I've learned that there's other types of epilepsy.
Yeah, that a lot of other people do have these issues and that we all find remedies for it, and ways to manage.
favorite thing I learned is that Annie's a badass.
Before I forget, can I ask Mark a question?
Yeah.
What's the difference between dyslexia and dysgraphia?
Dyslexia is oh man, I can look them up for you. I know dyslexia, the
You
lex
can
part of
see the
lexia has
numbers
the same
or
Greek.
letters.
Oh,
Now, my Dragon Boy got diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia. It's like, okay, I know what dyslexia is. Like, my mom couldn't quite
yeah,
explain what dysgraphia
dysgraphia
is.
might, I would, if I were to guess before looking it up, I would, I would think it's probably like the equivalent to um like to dyslexia for visually conveyed information graphically, visually, like through charts and imagery.
Okay, that actually
I,
makes sense.
I need to check because you really piqued my curiosity here.
Thank you. Back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, I know my dyslexia is when I'm mistaken the numbers and stuff. Like I'll see it and I'll be like, okay, it says 1609, and I write it down on the paper in a different order.
That
And
was
I'm
part
like,
of my
it's the
memory
same
test.
number.
I did terrible.
How was that memory test?
Real quick, Toaster. Okay, so I've got the answer.
Yay.
Um, dyslexia is to reading as dysgraphia is to writing. So,
Okay, that actually makes so much
difficulty
sense.
writing and putting words on paper correctly.
Yep, that explains a lot.
Yeah. So cool. I learned a new
Thank you.
thing today too. Yay.
That's another thing that's awesome about this group is we're always learning from each other.
And with how many times we have to repeat it, it sinks in. That's the first
We'll
thing I
just
think when
repeat
people
it
talk
That's
about how
why
much we
we're
learn.
always learning new things from each other.
Same things over and over and over again.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how it gets from short term to long term somehow,
Yeah.
eventually.
somehow.
So that memory test you were talking about, Toaster, what was that about?
So I'm in the process of trying to get on SS no, shoot. One of the disability thingamabobbers.
Yes,
And
testy eyes.
yeah. And the state sent me a letter saying, hey, we set up this appointment for you to test your memory. And I was like, okay. Then they sent the exact same thing for my mom, so I wouldn't forget. Then they called me, so I wouldn't forget. Then I called my mom, so I wouldn't forget. Over and over and over again. They really wanted me to take this damn test. And it was honestly, it was almost like every other psychological test I've ever taken in my life. You had the little blocks with the different colors. You had um she did trick me though. She told me a story at the beginning. I'm actually kind of sad about this. And then at the end, she asked me questions about the details of the story. It's like I can remember the summary. And the only reason why I remember the name of the person is because I have a friend named Annie. Annie got robbed and went to the police station. The police station put up a um, donation jar so she could keep the lights on in her house, something like that. But there was so
If
much other.
anything, that might help your case.
Yeah, I know. It's like I feel so bad because it's like I know I did terribly at the same time. It's okay, what's probably needed.
That's what it's about. Yeah, I was surprised to see here that on the little AI overview, there's a lot of different memory assessments associated with epilepsy. Lufa, have you ever had a memory test?
Probably for mental health reasons.
So are those more the kind that are
Um,
totally verbal, not really like matching up,
uh,
something in order and then rearranging it or something?
probably for like autism or something, but
Very similar.
in recent times, no. But I would definitely get an A+ for memory failure.
Well, this is the thing.
That's a
This type
beautiful
of
way to flip
tests,
it.
some of the little tests I'm absolutely wonderful at. And so I'm afraid it got skewed a little bit because the types of tests that my mom practiced on me and my sibling for years and years and years. Anytime a new test came out, or new version of the test, we were the guinea pigs.
Yeah, so for me, I have never had good memory ever. My mom always said that I had selective memory and selective hearing as a kid and growing up. I think that's something my brain just does. I don't think that I'm actually selecting, although sometimes I do. But I've always had really horrible memory. Um, sometimes, yeah, um, I really have no advice for memory. It's not looking good for me over here. So, I'm just holding on to whatever I have while I do. But I'm sure that I'll have some sort of Alzheimer's or something at some point, but that's okay. That's all right. I don't need to remember everything.
When you forget
I
one
was
day
def-
from the other, Alzheimer's is nothing.
Hmm?
When you already forget one day to the next, Alzheimer's is nothing.
Well, I have Alzheimer's and dementia runs in my family, and with my seizure activity, the fact that I have died before, and actually, I just learned that, guys, I died. I don't know if I told you guys that, but I died once. I died, and
What do you remember from that?
well, when I died, it was all black, which seems very nice for when I do die. I would like everything to just be everything just gone. I would like to be in the abyss of darkness. And then I woke up. Um, but that combined with the ECT, the epilepsy, and the PTSD and whatnot, and then all the substance abuse, my memory is really bad. It was bad from the get-go. So if you need me to remember something, and I don't remember it, just it's not personal at all. It's never personal if I don't remember something.
Lufa, you know this is the one place where you don't have to say that kind of shit. Because we all have to deal with that when
I
somebody
do.
takes it so
I
fucking
do.
personal that you don't remember their grandchildren's names and you met them like once.
Yeah, I don't remember I don't know my cousin's significant others' names, but I also like haven't seen my cousins in ages, and I don't know their ages. I don't know how old any of them are. No, actually, my grandpa the other day is dementia. He asked me if now I'm the youngest in the family. I'm the baby, but I'm also the favorite. But the other day he asked me, he was like, are you and my other cousin, he was like, is that your cousin or your nephew? And I was like, that's my cousin. If that was my nephew, that would mean you're my father. And my mother is my sister. That makes things really confusing. But yes, he is my cousin. I am your cousins, fathers, brothers, nephews, sons, roommates. What does that make us? Absolutely nothing. Okay.
Some
Yeah.
parts of the country, that's a serious possibility. Question, you know, there's some interesting family trees.
I got something here.
Yes, thank you. That was getting weird.
How does sushi sound, you guys?
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking so too. Uber Eats just sent me a notification to me. It'll be great if you get it again. I know, right?
Gonna share some California rolls.
No, I think he was gonna try the Philly roll.
So what you
I,
talking about in the chat, Angel? About some X-Files tests?
Oh, I was just wondering what these memory tests are doing? Like, is it these try to figure out what's behind this card while you can't see behind the card?
No, they're like psychometric, like psychiatric, psychological, try to figure out how people fit into certain different groups of, like hand-eye coordination type thing, reaction time, um, uh, certain language tests and stuff were all part of it. Uh, at least the version I did. Um, I don't know. They may have, I'm just now realizing they may have been talking about a completely different test.
There's a
remember.
whole bunch of tiny tests made up into one giant test. Um, there are like, and some of the mini tests are like they'll give you a list of words and they'll ask you to try to remember the words, and then they'll pair the words together, and you have to remember what word is paired with what word. That one's hard because I couldn't even remember the words, let alone what was paired with it.
Yeah. Or like a list
saying
of digits and what
saying
was
them in
the
order.
fourth digit.
They give you like 9, 5, 11, 12. Put those in order from least to greatest. And I don't even remember what word numbers I just said. So
9, 5, 11, 12.
yeah, see. There's also my favorite one is the one with the little blocks. Where it's like half red and half white, and you have to make little designs. There's this grid where it starts off easy. They give you dots and they show you, okay, this is where the dots go. And they cover up what their board, and you have to remember where the dots go. Then they switch it to symbols, and you have to remember which symbols and then where they go in the grid. So lots of little mini tests to make up one huge test.
Did anybody else have
Just
to get a lumbar puncture to diagnose?
oh, not to diagnose, just for funsies.
Okay.
I had a horrible headache. They thought I might have had meningitis. Um, lumbar puncture was fine to whatever test they did. So I don't know. Maybe that headache was one of my first post-ictal mother of all headaches. I don't know, but don't recommend
How in the world they recommend
lumbar
this for
puncture
febrile
unless you
seizures a
have to.
lot? Couldn't imagine an infant having to go through that.
Oh, God, no. Have you had a lumbar puncture, Kate?
No, my diagnosis was all through EEGs and just ruling out. I think I had to go back for some other kind of test to get approved for the disability. But I think it was just that big memory test. I don't think it was even anything physical. Yeah, I didn't realize CSF. Lumbar punctures were such a common thing now, associated with epilepsy anyway.
Yeah, I got something here. It says disappointed with results. 27 days ago, I posted on here that I was hoping I would have a seizure during my EEG. I have been having seizures for a while, but they have told me that they are PNES. I was so sure that something would show up, but to my surprise, it didn't. They told me no changes in the current plan, and to follow up in July. My EEG was in May, and my past EEGs, I've had 3 in total. I have been normal and routine EEGs. The last one was 1 to 2 hours long, so a little longer. I have had 3 EEGs in the span of 7 months. I have a camera in my room because I have been having seizures in my sleep, and I have noticed I am having what seems to be focal seizures in my sleep multiple times at night. Usually, I haven't showed my neurologist yet. The main issue is my mom is so fully convinced that these are only PNES seizures. When I showed her the video, she laughed and said it was just deep sleep. When I would have tonic clonics in my sleep, she said wasn't deep sleep. I was in REM sleep. I don't know how she would know what exact stage of sleep I would be in, but I am not sure I can get a second opinion from a doctor or anything. She doesn't want to send the videos to the neurology or anything. It's so frustrating. I am 17. I can't do anything myself. I want a longer than 24-hour, even long EEG. I just don't know what to do. And my mom is believing in the slightest seizures that the slightest seizures aren't epileptic. I know my own body. I know that my seizures aren't PNES. Someone please help. What do I do? Run away. I'm just kidding. Don't run away. There's nothing out there.
All right, I gotta say stuff. First off, yes, they are real seizures. They are. And 30% of epileptics will experience GNES at some point, not in their career, but that's the word that's coming to my head.
Their seizure career.
Yes, their seizure career. So don't completely rule out PNES, but I also agree with you. You know your body better than anyone. And I also agree, the longer EEG there is, the better. A lot of our friends haven't gotten a seizure on EEG until they finally get to an EMU stay. So try to convince your moms that this has got to happen for your well-being. If, moms should understand that, right? Should.
One of the highest rated posts on this page is about, just advice, basically something contradicting a lot of what people post every day. And, a lot of the same topics we talk about pretty frequently. One of the ones on this list is not neglecting your own treatment. A lot of us go through a period of a year or two of shock and just doing what we're told. And if we're not controlled by then, I've noticed a lot of us enter a period of depression, of why even bother, and we just stop taking our meds. I know I was there myself. Don't do this. It can be hard. I know it can be frustrating or upsetting, but acceptance always comes after the anger and bargaining and depression. Soon enough, you'll reach a stage where it's just something you don't really think about. If you're like me, seizures will be something you can even laugh at when it isn't bothering you too much. And there's almost always more you can do to try to attain seizure freedom. I don't know, do you guys think it happens more with everybody or just people who are, tend to neglect their healthcare anyway?
When you're young, and it makes sense. And they are talking about stages of grief. And well, come on, there is some stage of grief and finding out that you have a chronic condition that will probably affect you for the rest of your life.
Someone tell me something. I was recently diagnosed with epilepsy and I'm still in disbelief. In late May, I had my first seizure, tonic-clonic, while I was studying with some classmates for summer physics course. I was tired, hungry, probably dehydrated, and very stressed. I was also taking Wellbutrin, which I know lowers your threshold. Because all this, I assumed it was one of them situations. However, I got into a 24-hour EEG and it came back abnormal, a poly spike that occurred while I was sleeping, which led to me being diagnosed with generalized epilepsy and having to start taking Lamictal. I've imagined I would be diagnosed with anything. I've imagined I would be diagnosed with anything, especially because nobody in my immediate family has it. I can't think of anything that could have caused it. The thing that's most frustrating is that I can't drive. I go back to college soon. Hopefully, it won't affect me too much. I luckily haven't had a seizure since then, and I wonder if I will ever have one again. But the whole situation is just shocking me and scary right now. Basically, just asking for advice. Just said, someone tell me something. First comment says, welcome to the club, my friend. I had my first tonic-clonic at 22. All 3 EEGs came back clean, even my 24-hour sleep deprived. Had second one a year ago and was diagnosed with generalized epilepsy and was put on meds. I went 11 years before my next. Always sleep deprived and stressed. Managing my triggers and staying on top of my meds has been the things that kept things very manageable. Now 40 with a wife and 2 kids, it makes it life a little scarier, especially for the close ones that witness it. But life keeps going. I'd say try and keep yourself hydrated, and getting more sleep is a good start. Anything you guys could say to a newcomer? They're screaming out for help, you guys.
It's rough at first. It's really rough when you're, starting. They have to basically build this dam in your head to hold back the seizures. And you're going to be trying, it's a trial and error with medications. Hopefully they find one right away that works and it doesn't affect you in a bad way with your body or mental way. But after that, it's, just jot everything down, start noticing everything, because it like I said, it's rough at first, but it gets easier, it gets manageable.
Angel said it gets manageable. And with me, it took some time, but just hurting myself and having wounds and scars and stuff. Eventually, I had to get it in order. Like, I can't keep just going about this. I got to figure something out. Took some time. I've got down to so many seizures, a good amount now, so I'm pretty good. I'm feeling decent at least. And yeah, just take your time, find things that prevent your triggers. You should be good. Well, not, yeah, you could be good, possibly. I'm not going to put false hope out there. But I will read some comments.
But what they could look forward to in learning about it is that if you get somebody on your side right away, somebody to essentially learn about it with you. I mean, I would tell them just come talk to us, but it does help having somebody to go to appointments with you and things like that, especially at the beginning, since it's going to be new to everybody. And if you have somebody right there learning about it with you, it might be easier to make sense of it.
One says, first seizure 10 months ago, at 54, diagnosed 5 months later, can't drive. I kind of think I'm close to accepting it. You'll get there. Takes a while to adjust to it. Maybe you'll never have another seizure, and that will be great. However, learn to recognize the things that might trigger seizures. Being overtired and stressed will often cause them. You will most likely not be able to drive for a period of the time, remaining seizure free. I know Pennsylvania, it is a 6 month no driving after a seizure. Take your medicine and continue on with your life. Don't let the seizures define who you are. I like that one.
Yeah, there's a
Another
cute
person
one
says,
here of somebody celebrating their 1 year seizure-free anniversary, and they make like a bunch of cupcakes, and they're really fancy. How would you guys celebrate? What would you call a milestone for no seizures, and how would you celebrate?
I would probably forget.
yeah, I'd probably forget the date that I had last seizure on.
I'd probably be like, oh, it's been like a while though.
Or
Come
something
on,
to go
everybody, we're
somewhere.
not taking notes by now?
Um,
I'm taking notes, but I'm not
I
tracking how
lose my
many
notes.
days since last one. I'm just noting when the last one happened and stuff. I've given up on trying to get my license back for long enough that I don't bother counting weeks, months. That's just a recipe for disappointment.
Or a way to get a goal and maybe create a recipe for victory?
I just hope for the best. I just pray for the best. I just sit here and I think no more seizures. No. No seizure.
Okay, Chris, let's get a fresh perspective on this one. Welcome, Chris.
I know how I would celebrate. I would go to the cheesecake factory and get me some cheesecake.
Well, I'm not a fan of cheesecake, so I want to go to the cheesecake factory and get some cheesecake. But I also kind of follow in Mark there a little bit, where it's not. I kind of forget as much as, but I also follow you, Kate, there, where you're like having goals in a sense. I never
Yeah,
really
it
thought
sounds
about this
good, but
topic.
that's what I'm thinking too. Kind of talking a big game, but I couldn't tell you when my last tonic-clonic was or how long ago.
I actually remember my last tonic clonic was in March, I think it was.
So you could be going on 6 months. 6 months seizure free. How would you celebrate? Or would you? Yeah,
I
Chris, I was talking
I
to you because that was
yeah,
5 months ago.
yeah, I was trying to think, but I don't think I would do anything really. Maybe talk to my mom and be like, "Hey, it's been 6 months."
Right.
Okay. All right, so at least recognize it.
I
Now we
actually
had
get
an icebreaker.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, go ahead.
oh sorry, I was just gonna say I actually get scared around the 6 month mark because that's usually when I have a seizure again. I usually have a seizure like while medicated so far. I see that it's been every maybe 6 months if there's a trigger. But without medication, it starts every 6 months, and then as the medication lowers in my system, it'll go. Well, this is prior to me being medicated, but it would I would have a seizure maybe twice every 2 months, a grand mal seizure or 3 months. So, but then 3 months to 6 months. So usually around that time is when I start to get nervous. Actually, I don't get excited. I get really nervous because I'm like, oh boy, my body is 6 months has been building up a seizure for 6 months. Anytime now. But
So is that a time frame of like when you get resistant to the medication, or were you saying you weren't on meds?
well, I wasn't on meds at that time, but this past seizure that I had, I was medicated. I was just switching from the Keppra to the Breviac, but it was still pretty decent, and I had the Klonopin as well, 1 milligram that I was taking daily. So everything was fine. But I think for me, like if my body is overly stressed out, regardless of medicated or not, I will have a seizure. Because that day, and I believe I had just hit either the 3 or 5 month mark of a seizure, of like a grand or tonic-clonic seizure, and it's in line with the pattern that I have. But there were a lot of factors that played into that one because we were moving and it was hot out. It was like 90 degrees that day. We were moving heavy things, and at the end of the day, my body just couldn't take it anymore. But other than that, um, I in the past, prior to being diagnosed, I would have a seizure every 6 months at least. I think since I was 11, but most of them have gone unnoticed. I think a lot of the really bad migraines that I had as a kid were probably from having seizures in my sleep, maybe from because I was very stressed out at school.
Yeah, I kind of follow that. I feel like I might have seizures every 6 months or so. Because the one before that, I mean, that was it might have been like 8 or 9 months before that, but it was definitely drug induced, where I was taking too much alcohol and ended up eating eighth of mushrooms and then woke up in the hospital.
That's one to remember.
Yeah, I think when I start getting farther from my most recent seizure, if I do anything that might contribute to lowering my seizure threshold, I'm bound to have a seizure. Like it's just bound to happen, even though I'm medicated, and I don't quite know why that is, but we're still figuring it out since I'm
Do you
near.
ever miss a dose?
I've missed a dose. I missed a dose of my Kepper once, and my Klonopin in the morning, and I immediately started having tics, and I realized that I missed because I've juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. And I started having the little spasms and whatnot, and so I took that and it stopped it. But um, usually, if I miss a dose, I'm okay. If it's just one dose I'm missing, but if I'm missing doses, like if I get on a pattern of not taking my medicine, it gets really bad. Um, and yeah, but if I miss a dose, usually it's just I just feel like really weird, kind of like a aura throughout the entire day or something.
How often do you take your meds? Like, how long would it be until you next notice?
Like on a daily basis?
Yeah, like if you say if you miss a med, like are you taking twice a day? Would it be 12 hours at least until you next notice you missed a dose? Or because I
I
like take mine 3 times a day, so if I miss one of those, it would be at most like 8 hours until I realize. So
um
in some ways that might actually play in my benefit, as
so
annoying as it is.
for me, because I have the um methylphenidate, I am supposed to take it by 10 a.m. because we don't want it if I take it at like 11 or 12, which I have been doing lately. Um, it lasts longer because it's extended release as well. So I'm supposed to take it by 10. Tony, stop. If I have to take it by, no, I'm sorry, 10 a.m. I'm sorry, what the fuck? 10 a.m. So yeah, but usually I haven't been forgetting recently, and the only time I forget is if like usually when I forget is on the weekends because my mom will be like, "Oh, Olivia, do you want to go do this?" When I wake up, and for some reason my mind doesn't go straight to my meds, it goes straight to like, "Oh yeah, we're going thrift shopping." And then I accidentally miss a dose. But I usually take take it at take my medication from like 9 to 12 in the for the morning doses, and then like the same time for night doses, 9 to 12 is when I take it. Um if I forget a dose at night and it's like 1 a.m., I still take the dose even though I don't know why I do that. I probably end up double dosing, but um don't follow my instructions.
I won't.
Good.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be double dosing, I feel like, on
Yeah, well,
most
I just
medications.
I'm kind of a you only live once. Although I lived twice since I died once and was revived. So
I've been revived twice. I win.
all right, well, you only live thrice. You're like a cat.
Heart's been stopped once. Does that count? Intentionally, momentarily, but
I
you
think
know,
one time I stopped breathing. I don't know exactly why. And then another time, I don't know why either.
I just think they had to pull out the little shocker things.
They had to do that to me and it didn't work. So they came and got me in a helicopter.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, you probably don't remember the helicopter ride, but
I was in and out of it.
how was it?
Uh,
Okay, probably not the best time to be in a helicopter, but like if you were
I was
skydiving,
gonna say that I was kind of strapped down and
yeah,
just
that could be kind of scary,
strapped
actually.
you across here. And they strapped across the waist and the legs to make sure I didn't seize and fall on the floor, flail again, or fall when they turn. And I just remember, like, how much does this cost? And I was essentially asking how much does the plane cost? He told me the price of the flight. He said it's at least 100,000 just to take off. So I'm sitting here thinking, you guys take off twice because you gotta take off and come get me and then take off to leave. I didn't ask that, but I was just in and out of it, and that was the most interesting information that I got from him before I was in and out of going back to sleep. I couldn't like look over and see out the window. It was too much. Um, yeah, just think of an ambulance. There's no windows back there.
Must have
yeah,
smelled different. Ambulance, I don't know. Maybe it's just the hospital I pulled up at, but I know that it always smelled like a gas station. That's what stuck out to me from some of the ambulance rides. Imagine a helicopter would be cool because it must have been loud.
like the inside of like the convenience store part of the gas station, or like the gas pump part of the gas station.
Honestly, it smelled like the gas pump part when I was, you know, on the transport part because this hospital here, you have to sit outside for a little bit sometimes. And yeah, that's the part I usually remember. It's really hot
I
and
mean,
smelly. And
it
California.
takes a lot of fuel to drive a vehicle as heavy as an ambulance is, as quickly as they have to go, and the stopping and acceleration and everything. I would imagine they have to refuel very frequently after every, I mean, well, yeah, I would refuel after every single outing, because you never know how far what might need, yeah, so they probably just finished pumping like diesel into the ambulance and then boom, go to get you. That's probably why it smelled like that.
could be.
Yeah, just you never wanted to know that, did you?
But it's totally refreshing to hear somebody be able to analyze everything.
Just, I can't switch it off, I'm sorry.
It's
No,
all
that
right.
little anecdote might be what
I
helps us
love your
remember.
explanations. Love Mark's explanations out of anybody. He gets deep down in the
Absolutely.
explanations, gives you the facts.
Well, thank you. I try.
You know, I like the fact checking. Lets
But
me
let
know.
me know if I ever get the facts wrong, because more than just giving the facts, I want the correct facts. So if mine are not right, let me know.
You want to know something? I've never questioned anything you said. I never even Googled it. I just took it as Mark knows the truth.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but
I literally did not look up anything you say. I was like, hey, he knows the truth. Stop arguing with him.
well, thank you.
Yeah, Mark is something else. I'm like always learning with Mark and him and Annie. It's like, yeah, wow. Let me look this up.
I feel like if I look it up, it's just gonna be telling me what he just told me. So I'm just like, well, I've already been told that. Why go look it up and read it again? But
That's how I learned the stuff in the first place.
I have
I,
to
I go
get
and
repetitive.
I look it up. So yeah, it
But the big
makes
difference
sense.
between fact checking Mark and Annie is that I feel like if we ever fact check anything Anne says, like, and try to correct her, we'd probably get slapped first.
No, I have to get it repetitive in my mind. Like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I can look up stuff and then I instantly forget the next day.
yeah, I forget within 5 to 10 minutes, if
I
that.
oh, I'm sorry.
5 to 10 minutes later, that is gone. But maybe like 30 seconds later, maybe like 10 seconds later, I might forget. But after 30, you couldn't even ask me about it.
Yeah, that happens with me sometimes too.
Also, Chris, we got an icebreaker today. The icebreaker was if cost was not a factor, would you choose to keep your current healthcare provider or change your change your whole team?
Change my what?
Your whole like healthcare team.
Oh, honestly, I'd keep it. I from learning a lot of things from this podcast and just looking up stuff, I have a very mild case, I feel like, in epilepsy, even though I can have some pretty severe tonic-clonics.
I have a pretty mild case as well. If
Me too, right?
yeah, I feel like mine's pretty
I think that was
compared
pretty mild.
to people. Like I know gosh, I forgot her name, but she has the the static the
Status epilepticus.
yeah, she's had the status epilepticusness. Um, and that's pretty extreme. So I feel like mine's pretty minimum as well. So, but I think a good thing too is it's not we're not in the realm of like comparing who has it worse. Because I know like some people's minds are kind of wired that way, and
Yeah, I agree with you with that there.
here we're all, whether it's a really extreme case or a more mild case, we're all epileptics at the end of the day.
I think mine is pretty mild.
Yeah.
I mean, I only got insomnia, so other than that,
What is that on your,
insomnia.
no, what are you holding in front of you?
It's a keyboard.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
it's a pretty cool
Yeah, I thought it
little
was one of those
elevated
like
tray.
trigger
I
boards
like that.
Oh, this is for the laptop, but
that's really cool.
it can collapse.
Yeah,
It
so you
looks
don't have to
nice.
have the laptop burning
Yeah, it's
on you.
quite a neat keyboard holder. Never
Yeah,
seen
it did look
It's
like a
actually a
control
laptop
board
holder.
or something. It didn't
Yeah.
look like a normal keyboard
No, it
layout. Like,
didn't. That's why I was
you know,
like,
does
that's
he
really
have like this whole multi-monitor like
that's super cool.
podcast setup to, you know, I don't know.
Safe to say it's a professional setup.
I wonder if different locations like at least in America, if doctors in those locations are more open to medical marijuana and stuff like that, because I know here in Illinois it's still like a really tough one
Politicized.
for I haven't told my doctors because they would kick my ass. But because they're just not they're not, but they would do electroconvulsive therapy on me. So, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm okay with, I feel like I'm fine making my own decisions with that. I will continue to do what makes me feel good and helps my body. Um, but I just wonder if like in California maybe like they're a little easier with accepting a patient use cannabis or something like that, because they'll also throw you on ketamine treatments real quick, but they still tiptoe really around weed. But they'll throw
With epilepsy,
um
ketamine
with
treatments for
with
depression with epilepsy.
with anything, with like anything, unless it comes to cancer in Illinois. When it comes to cancer, if your doctor will most likely recommend you weed when it comes to cancer here in Illinois. But anything other than that, your actual like my actual psychiatrist or like primary care physician or neurologist would not like refer me for a medical marijuana card. I had to do that through a different doctor. But
Yeah, it's the same here in Florida. There's
yeah.
specific doctors who do,
Yeah, but if you
you
were to
know,
if you were to tell your doctor, like if I were to tell my neurologist, like, hey, I'm using marijuana to help me, he'd be like, no, work out more. I mean, like,
I
I mean, I
highly
just
doubt
told
that.
all of them I
I
didn't
just I don't
ask
really feel
them.
the need.
It's not their problem. It's not their
Yeah,
prescription. They don't
It's
have
also
any more authority over that than, any other doctor has over their prescriptions. So
so my last
unless they want to
neurologist.
start
Sorry,
that
go.
fight.
I actually have, so I
Well, Chris
used to
has
live
been
in
trying to get a
Nevada.
word in for like 10 minutes now.
Oh shit.
Oh,
No, sorry, Chris,
You're
go.
good. You're
I'm
good.
sorry.
Go
So
ahead, Chris, before you forget.
my last neurologist, I was asking for a medical card, and she told me, "Oh, you can find it cheaper somewhere." I was like, "Really? That's how you're gonna like tell me about this?" And I live in New Hampshire, and every state around me has recreational, and although I think it was helping me a lot. I recently stopped it about 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks ago now. And although, like I said, I think it was helping me, I think it was also hiding some things that I felt like I needed to put a look on. And I'm on a new medication that I think is helping a lot.
You can't see me, but I'm clapping. Good job. If it's helping, if quitting helps, I'm glad you did. Wait a second. Did I forget to turn my mute off?
Yeah,
Sorry.
too
Oh, no, I'm
many
good.
proponents turn it into a cure-all. So it's great to hear somebody
Give
who
the other
can
side.
who can make an even case for,
Yeah, as much as I enjoy using it,
yeah,
I feel like it wasn't necessarily putting a negative effect, but it was hiding some effects.
yes,
I think that's fair. I think for me, I kind of struggle with myself on the verge of like, am I addicted to weed versus like, do I am I actually using it as intended? But um,
And that's kind of how I thought about it
I
too.
th I think with my own history, um, and how I've been using it recently, I think that I've been using it in a way that helps me a lot to heal from because I went through electric convulsive therapy about 8 months ago. I think I've been saying 8 months for like a while now, but it'll always be 8 months. Um, but that is a very life-changing thing, and it left me with severe like anhedonia, something like that. But I basically just don't feel anything most of the time, and it's really it's
Apathy.
it's well, it's not like I lack the ability to do anything, like although it probably would be that if I didn't have my ADHD medication. Um, that's probably the only reason I'm able to do anything. But uh after the ECT, because I was manic all the time, it left me really depressed. And I think that the weed and how I dose it at least and use it, I think it helps me with um finding myself again and kind of reintegrating myself into society. Because as much as I would not like, I could see how people would think like, oh, you're addicted to it, but I don't know. I have a really high tolerance, so like pen, my Benjamin, I say I'm part of the cart epidemic, but my Benjamin, is like a pretty much like a vape to me, like a nicotine. How someone would hit a nicotine vape, it doesn't really get me super toasted anymore, but it helps me just stay kind of centered, if that makes sense, I guess.
I get that. That's
But
kind of how I was using it for a while. And then because
yeah.
I'm in a non-recreational state and I can't drive, I've always relied on other people grabbing it for me. And because I was relying on other people when they weren't around to be able to give it to me, I was realizing that I was having more like absence seizures and
Yeah,
things like
or
that.
like you'd be kind of moody too. Like sometimes I find myself a
A
little
little bit,
moody.
yeah.
If I'm out of it, I'm like, or if I'm running low, I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I get a little tense. And I have to kind of remind myself, like, hey, like you're gonna be okay. If you need to get more, you're gonna be able to get more. And you can just, limit yourself. It's okay. But
But sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you're good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I would because I would also feel like you were saying, oh, I can get more, I can get more. I started to realize, oh, maybe I don't need anymore.
Yeah. I also I have like addictive personality just in my genes, in my traits.
I would say the same too.
Um yeah, it comes from my father's side. So I had a few addictions to other substances for a while. And I think that for anything, really anything that I like, I kind of can get addicted to it in a way just because of uh how it is in my personality, I guess. But that's more of something that I have to figure out within like therapy and stuff because in my head with the weed and stuff, like I take my medication as prescribed that the doctors give me. Um and it does its job, but there are areas where it's my life is still kind of lacking, and if I can fill in the gap just a little bit with something that's not going to be super harmful to me or whatever, then I would like to do that, especially while I'm home all the time because I can't
Well,
work right
I
now.
do want to give you a bit of advice is I don't know if it's really advice, but at least tell your doctor that you're taking it. They can't tell you not to take it. They can tell you
And
not to take it,
they
but they're
have
not gonna make you not take it, you know?
they have an idea. They
But
just
there's also the HIPAA laws. They can't be like, oh, this person's doing this, so blah 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 blah. But
yeah,
it's
they
best
just
to tell
they
your doctor that you're taking it.
I don't know. They're kind of they're a little weird. I I tell them that I smoke a little bit, and they're like, "How much?" And I'm just like, "A bit." And then that's just how we always leave it.
I guess at least if they know you're smoking that, they at least have an
Yeah,
idea.
it's just that's just I let them know like that's not something that I really plan on stopping because for me it's helped me get clean off of worse substances that are really bad for seizures specifically. Um and I honestly am not like some days I don't smoke at all. So I don't think that I really I think that if I was truly like down hard addicted, then I would be like every day. But some days I go without anything, I guess. So I think part of it is I just overanalyze myself because of the addictive personality trait that I had before, and I just always want to make sure that I'm not addicted to much to something.
Yeah,
I want
unfortunately,
to say something.
sorry, go ahead.
Lufa, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
You, the, it takes a rare mind to actually be able to stop and look at yourself and say, okay, these are my flaws. And this is how I prevent my flaws from blowing up my life. I see you doing that, and
Thank
it's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, my biological sperm donor is a big inspiration for that because he's an idiot and he doesn't know when to stop. And he's an addict and he's just stupid. And I don't want to be stupid. So anytime I feel like I'm doing too much, I think of him and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like him. I would like to be like my mother. My mother is way cooler. So that's the only good thing he's ever done. But yeah, thank you, Toaster. I appreciate that. I try really hard.
Yeah, I think I was trying to say that my next addictive thing is I need to quit alcohol. That's very hard.
I also had a
I've
answer for the original question for this post about the something your um, neurologist has said that's been profound. When I first fell into Duke and met Dr. Parikh for the first time, she said that most people who get to get to her are living their life seizure by seizure, literally just waiting for the next seizure to happen, waiting for the next seizure to happen, and that she's there to help have something more than just the next seizure.
And that kind of ties into where it's hard for me to quit alcohol, but it's so easy to get back into alcohol is because I'm afraid of the next seizure happening because of quitting alcohol, because it has such a high, it gives you the threshold to actually have another seizure.
You got somebody I want you to talk to. He's 6 years sober today. I'm going to give the mic to Mark.
Was there more that you had shared or that you would like to share about that?
So I have been able to quit alcohol a couple of times, but it's much easier to go back into alcohol than to quit it. And
Yes, yeah.
I drink close to 100 ounces a day of beer. That's every day. And last time I quit it was probably 8 months ago, something like that. It was beginning of this year I did. And then it feels like every 3 months, I start getting back into it. And then, like I said, it's much easier to go back into it than to quit it. Just because I'm mostly scared of those, because alcohol withdrawals have a tendency to cause you to have seizures.
Were you on anti-epilepsy meds?
Yeah, I'm on Keppra and Vimpat.
And are your neurologists aware of how much you are drinking currently?
Yes.
Have
Does
you
your
thought about
neurologist want to do anything about that?
I'm sorry, what?
Does your neurologist want to do anything about that?
Um, that's
Like,
a hard
have,
question to answer for
have
them,
you
at least,
thought
you know.
about maybe a program or something to get you off
Yeah,
of a healthy way?
yeah, I've thought about rehabs and
Yeah,
this and that, and but stuff is so expensive.
it is. It is. That is very, very true.
Well, I was just thinking of the way that um they cross taper anti-epilepsy drugs when you're coming down off of one, they bring you up on the other one. Um if you I don't know what meds you're on, I don't know what doses, I don't know if this is even a reasonable, you know, idea from a medical standpoint, but um, if um, getting you off of, or if being off of the alcohol would leave you at a higher or at a lower seizure threshold, um, then your doctor may want to increase the baseline dose of the uh, anti-epilepsy med that you're on, and the a cross taper of slowing down and uh not necessarily an official like going into rehab type of thing, but something where you discuss with your doctor, that you'll reduce your drinking by this much and increase um the anti-epilepsy medication if you notice seizure activity or something, because stopping cold turkey is not good.
No,
That
I
even
100% know
even
that.
when you're not epileptic,
Yeah.
that's potentially lethal. So, um, but the whole fancy rehab thing is also just not really. It doesn't even really have a good success rate from what I understand anyway. Um,
Yeah, and like, oh, fuck, I already forgot what I was gonna say.
I'm
That
sorry, I missed what
happens.
you.
I was gonna say something, but I completely forgot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know. It was hard for me to quit drinking, and um it took like a dozen false starts or so before I really got to it, set to it.
And
Um,
stayed committed, you know.
yeah, yeah.
And I get that
Stayed.
because like I said, I've been able to stop it quite a few times, but then for some reason, every 3 months, I'm like, all right, let's have one more, even though I'm like, you really shouldn't. And I've even talked to my primary care, and unfortunately, with the things we've talked about, I just never really liked the way I feel like they would have affected me, even though the chances are they would probably affect me better than alcohol does.
Both the long-term side effects.
Well, I also, now that I think about it more, I did try what is the name of that? There was some medicine that he gave me. I can't remember the name of it, but it basically reduced the how alcohol affects you. But I'm like,
Yeah.
but also it's like, why would I take this medicine and still drink alcohol even though it doesn't have the same effects, but it'll still have the same negative effects.
Yeah, I think the idea behind that is to reduce the rewarding mechanism behind the drinking so that you take it and um you still get inebriated a little bit, but you don't get the strong reinforcing dopamine um reaction to it in the same way. So, um, it's not like no effect. It's more like just not not the I don't know how
Yeah,
to.
no, I know where you're going, but like my problem with it was I wouldn't get the rewarding effects and only the negative effects. And like I know that sounds, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it's almost basically I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but I feel like it gives me more of the risk than the reward that alcohol does, and at least with that medication, that's why I stopped it. And then
Hmm,
all the other ones that were basically sound the same to me.
trying to remember. I think I may have been on that med, but not for that. I think it was that, do you remember, was that med something that was prescribed for a whole bunch of different things and like the alcohol was just one of them or
What was the name again?
I don't remember.
Oh, I
That's
thought
why
you
I'm
said
trying to
might have
look
said
it
it.
up. It just
Yeah, it sounded what you said might have been in the medicine, but I don't remember it either.
I got one that says,
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.